Hey, Wild Souls, this is L,
And Kerri.
your host of Seasonal Reflections. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or a curious soul taking your first steps on this path, Seasonal Reflections is your compass to navigate the ever turning wheel of life.
And if you're ready to explore the intersection of science and spirituality, then we invite you to listen to our podcast and become part of our community. We're creating a space where myths come to life and your connection with nature deepens.
Welcome back to Seasonal Reflections. Last month we had 2 episodes, one discussing the Sabbat in bulk and another on reframing Valentine's Day. In our Imbolc episode, we explored the magical world of Imbolc, discussing purification rituals, creative activities, symbolic dishes, potlucks, altar options, stones, and herbs associated with the becoming of spring. We explored who the goddess Bridget is, and her significance to Imbolc.
In our special Valentine's Day episode, we brought interesting perspectives on how to reframe this holiday to make it more unique to your relationship with self, friends, or romantic partners. We investigated the multifaceted landscape of love, discussing the concept of love languages, astrological aspects, past partnerships, and self exploration that can give a deeper sense of love on distinct levels. Using mythological stories like Ocean from the Yoruba Nigerian mythology, and the Roman romance of Psyche and Eros, we were able to tie in to the concepts of love and romance.
In today's episode, we will examine the Sabbat Ostara, ways to observe this Sabbat and honor the goddess herself. Astrological aspects will be explored with the upcoming full moon in Libra, April's new moon in Aries, and other pertinent aspects to consider. But first, Carrie, how was Imbolc and Valentine's Day for you?
Yeah. Well, Valentine's Day was pretty nice. I got some unexpected gifts from a few friends. I bought some unique jewelry off of Etsy for myself. I got a glorious 2-hour massage. And at night, I saw a movie with my mom and the kids. And as you know, our dear friend hosted a lattes and mimosa brunch, which was always exquisite. You know, the kind of spread she puts out. I was most certainly in a food coma when I left. We weren't supposed to bring anything, but based on our episode, I brought 2 packets of seeds for each person. One contained forget-me-nots and the other zinnias. When combined, they mean do not forget me or our everlasting friendship. So everyone seemed to really love the idea and the meaning behind it. I hope the seeds germinate well and that each person's reminded of the meaning behind it when they see them. As far as in bulk, you and I had an intimate gathering with 3 or 4 friends at my house. We had a communal altar in which we brought stuff to add to it, and everyone made the best food. I think my favorite part was our time in the living room, like in that circle on the meditation pillows, and you provided that awesome guided Bridget meditation. And then our friend provided journal prompts. We shared our thoughts after, and then played my random assortment of instruments I had. And we were making up words to childhood songs by candlelight and fire. And it was so relaxing. And I don't know, my heart just felt very full and I felt really good. And I'm glad my kids were so good because I had them that night, right? But they didn't bother us at all. So, what did you think of that night and how was your Valentine's Day?
It was really fun. I think you recapped it very well. Yes, your children were very tolerant of our ruckus we were creating in your living room. Um, My Valentine's Day was pretty low key. Jabin got me a chocolate bar flight, which my Venus and Sag loved. Variety is the spice of life for me, so it was perfect. And we just opened them all up and shared a bit of each and ranked them.
So, I want to know like what I've heard of wine flights, beer flights. How come I have never heard of a chocolate bar flight? And what is it? Like, is it specific brands? Did he create that himself? Do you buy it somewhere? Like, it sounds amazing and I need to know more.
Well, that's really
Yeah.
funny coming from someone who literally lives around the corner from a Trader Joe's.
So, of
Like they
course,
have
Trader
tons.
Joe's has it.
They do. Well, that's not where this one came from, but every like the holiday season, they have like several different kinds of chocolate flights. from like different places around the world. This specific one was Dr. Bronner's. They make chocolate,
Mhm.
and they make chocolate with coconut sugar. So they were very heavy on the nut butters. There was like a praline one, there was a hazelnut butter one, an almond butter one, and then like a dark chocolate one. It was just like a variety.
Did it come on, like, a glass or, like, bags? Like,
This
did
one
it
came in
actually
a
look
big
like a flight?
cardboard box that
Okay.
said magic on it, which was
Okay.
awesome. Um, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they come
Yeah.
in like fancy boxes.
Alright, add that to my wish list, um, for myself. And now, looking forward, Elle is going to share with us any astrological transits we might want to ponder as they approach. Elle, could you tell us what's going on in the cosmos this month?
Certainly. I do want to preface this with like, this is very vague and I'm just kind of touching on things and really focusing on the moon. So if you want to learn more about any of these things, search it up. There's some really good info out there. March and the beginning of April is set to be an eventful month in astrology. Mercury's move into Aries on March 11th could bring a surge of bold and assertive communication styles, as Aries is known for its directness and initiative. Venus's shift into Pisces on March 12th adds a dreamy and romantic flavor to relationships, enhancing empathy and compassion. Mars following suit and entering Pisces on March 23rd might infuse actions with a more intuitive and imaginative approach as well, although it can bring a sense of confusion or idealism. Think of like the rose colored glasses. The sun's move into Aries on March 19th marks the beginning of the astrological new year, symbolizing a time of fresh starts and a focus on personal goals. The full moon Libra eclipse on March 25th suggests a period of intense emotions, particularly in relationships, as the eclipse energy prompts us to reassess our partnerships and seek balance in our lives. I will talk more about this later. Finally, we have a new moon and solar eclipse in Aries on April 8th. And as the sun transitions into Aries on March 19th, it's like nature's alarm clock, signaling the start of spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It is known for its fiery, bold, and dynamic energy. Just as the sun embarks on a new journey through the zodiac, so too do plants and animals around us. Trees begin to bud, flowers bloom, and animals emerge from hibernation. There's a palpable sense of excitement and vitality in the air, urging us to shake off the cold of winter and embrace new beginnings. Now, Aries is a sign of action and initiative, and during this time, we may feel a renewed sense of drive and determination. The sun's journey through Aries reflects our own inner fire and our own desires and ambition. It's a great time to set new goals, start new projects, or take on new challenges. The energy of Aries encourages us to be bold, to take risks, and to follow our passions wherever they may lead. Let us heed the call of the wild and embark on our own journey of self discovery and growth. And let us remember that just as the sun rises each day, so too do we have the power to rise again, to start anew, and to shine brightly in the world.
And just so you all are aware, we have slightly adjusted our new moon and full moon approach if you haven't noticed. In past episodes, we typically discuss the new and full moon of that said month. But since the full moon of, say, March and the sister sign of the month after, let's say April, are sister signs, what we mean is they oppose each other, we thought that it's best to discuss those two instead because they flow a bit better. And Elle, do you think this will help listeners grasp the concepts of the moon and their signs better each month?
Yeah, I hope so, anyways.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can explain it in a way that makes sense. So, wherever the sun sign is at that time of the new moon, that new moon will be in the same sign, and the full moon will be in its opposite sign. So, this cycle, the sun is in Aries, so the new moon will be in Aries. Then the full moon is going to be in its polar opposite, Libra. And that is true for every sun sign. When the sun is in Leo, the new moon will be in Leo, and the full moon is going to be in Aquarius. When the sun is in Cancer, the new moon will be in Cancer, and the full moon will be in Capricorn. And I feel like it's really an easy way to remember the new and full moon and where they're going to be at any given time. If you know what the sun sign is, you can take a crack at what the moon, where it's going to be. And I like looking at it this way from an energetic standpoint. You have the sun, the solar energy in a placement, and then you have the moon, the emotions, and the starting of something in the moon sign. So the emotions of Aries, creating something backed by the sun. So you're feeling something and then you're acting on it in the same kind of energetic pattern. But then when you have the full moon at play, you have the fullest expression of whatever that opposite sign is. So I really believe that instead of 12 signs, there are 6 signs and they're just 2 sides of the same coin. Technically, there are 12 signs, but bear with me here. So with Aries, you have the self, the spirit, the spark of the zodiac, right? The beginning of life. I am doing this. I'm going to figure things out. I put my mind to something, I'm just going to do it. And its opposite is Libra. Libra is the scales. They are going to weigh things. They're going to look at both sides of all of the things. They're going to say, I am, but so are you. And how can we walk this road together? How can we have a relationship with each other? And then the beauty of this is that Libras and Aries both know this and learn from each other. I've actually seen a lot of Aries and Libras in relationship, as far as polar opposite relationship signs go. Aries says, I am me, and that's who I am. And Libras are like, yeah, and we are we. But they're both trying to figure out the same thing. Um, they're looking at areas of asserting themselves and how they can be authentically themselves, but also be authentically themselves with other people and having a nice reciprocity there. And I think every sign you can kind of play this like devil's advocate and see where one sign's strength is, the other sign's, I don't want to say it's weakness, but it's kind of like clues into like its shadow work that it can do. So I hope this is more clarity than confusion. And with all that being said, let's get into it. The full moon comes first, opposing the sun this month, and we have a full moon in Libra, and not just any full moon. This one is going to be a full moon lunar eclipse. This eclipse is a powerful astrological moment as it combines the heightened emotions of a full moon, 5 degrees Libra, opposing the sun, that's going to be 5 degrees Aries. And with this transformation energy of the eclipse, it's really asking us to look at this dynamic within ourselves, look at how we authentically feel about things. So, in this sign of Libra, the focus is on relationships, balance, and harmony. This eclipse may bring to light issues with partnerships, urging us to find a balance between our own needs and the needs of others. It can also be a time of resolution and closure as we release old patterns or dynamics in relationships that no longer serve us. The energy of this eclipse encourages us to seek fairness and justice in our interactions, both in our personal relationships and in the world around us. Now, looking at this dynamic a little closer, energy is going to ask us to look at our emotions in relationship dynamics. Are we having feelings about fitting in with a specific work or peer group? How are we feeling about our relationships with our spouse, kids, or ourselves? If there are big feelings about any of these dynamics, we have to ask ourselves, is it a time to call for peace, Libra, or is it a time to sound the alarms of war, Aries? Is this a superficial peace? Are we waging harmony for harmony's sake? Or are there underlying issues or emotions that need to be resolved? Libra energy has a tendency to people please. People pleasing comes from a place of fear, not a place of love. I'm just going to repeat that for those of you in the back. People pleasing comes from a place of fear, not a place of love. If this resonates with you, you might have some shadow work to do. Are you caught between diplomacy and honest transparency? If so, maybe sit with these feelings and ask yourself what the root of cause of it is. Are you feeling left out? Do you need more attention? Do you need more autonomy? Journal it out and think about what your ideal relationship with that person or group or yourself looks like. And with that vision in mind, write down small shifts that you can make to take you there. This is about gentle maneuvering, not blunt force. And now that we have our emotional sheesh worked out, we've created space for the solar action bit. The new moon on April 8th, which also happens to be a full solar eclipse, ushers in a fiery opportunity for creation. The energy of this eclipse can be intense and transformative, pushing us to break free from old patterns and embrace a fresh start. For the first time since January, the moonbeams bless us with a renewal energy. We've sat with our shadows throughout the winter, and now it's time to take our newly integrated selves out of the house and back into the world. Go on a little adventure, be spontaneous, or start that creative project you've been stewing on. However, I will caution this energy is akin to throwing a piece of cardboard on a well established fire. It may burn big and brightly at first, but can soon peter out without proper care and consideration. The energy of the equinox invites us to reflect on the balance within ourselves, the harmony between our own light and shadow. It's a time to acknowledge the seeds of intention we planted during the winter months and to nurture them as they begin to sprout. Whatever you decide to do, remember you are being backed energetically with a fresh start of a new moon and the intensity of a solar eclipse. So make it a good one. Be authentic and follow your instincts. So, as we celebrate the spring equinox and the sun's entrance into Aries, let us take a moment to honor the balance within ourselves and the world around us. Let us embrace the light and the darkness, knowing that both are necessary for growth and evolution. And let us welcome the new season with open arms, ready to embark on a journey of renewal and discovery.
And as we welcome the arrival of Ostara, the spring equinox, we are reminded the powerful symbolism of rebirth and renewal that this time of year brings. It's a celebration of the earth awakening from its winter slumber, bursting forth with a new life and vitality. This season marks a time of balance where the light and the dark are in harmony, and we are invited to embrace the energy of growth and transformation. Similarly, Irish American and Women's History Month also holds significant meanings of resilience and empowerment. Irish American women, in particular, have played a crucial role in shaping the cultural, social, and political landscape of the United States. From the early pioneers who arrived in the 17th and 18th century to the influential figures of today, Irish American women have made enduring contributions to various fields. They have been leaders, activists, artists, and scholars, to name a few. For example, Annie Moore, an Irish immigrant, holds a unique place in American history as the first person to proceed through Ellis Island on January 1st, 1892. Her arrival marked the beginning of a new era of immigration to the United States and a symbol of hope for many who sought a better life in the New World. Moore lived her life in the Lower East Side of New York, where she raised a family and contributed to her community. Speaking of immigration, did you know that the US Census Bureau reports that 36.9 million Americans claim Irish roots, making it the second largest heritage group in the United States after German? I, for one, am proud to be of Irish heritage, with my ancestors migrating first to Canada long before they stepped foot in the US. And even when we moved in the US, we stayed just right on the border, and many are still there. Irish American women have made significant contributions to various fields, including healthcare, entertainment, and journalism. For example, Margaret Sanger, born to an Irish immigrant family, was a leading advocate for women's reproductive rights and health. She founded the first birth control clinic in the United States and was a pioneer in the field of family planning. Maureen O'Hara, an iconic actress, broke barriers in Hollywood with her talent and resilience. She was known for her strong willed characters and her refusal to conform to traditional gender roles. Examples of these roles are in The Quiet Man and The Parent Trap. Her legacy continues to inspire generations of women in the entertainment industry. And Nellie Bly, another Irish American woman, was a pioneer in investigative journalism. She broke new ground with her undercover reporting and exposed the harsh conditions in mental institutions. Ostara, Irish American History Month, and Women's History Month also serves as a reminder of the ongoing political debates surrounding women's rights and bodily autonomy, particularly in the US. In recent years, there has been a significant focus on issues such as reproductive rights, healthcare, and gender equality. The US government policies and decisions regarding these issues have sparked heated debates and protests, with many arguing that they've threatened women's rights and safety. For example, restrictions on reproductive healthcare access, attempts to defund Planned Parenthood, and changes to the Title IX regulations have raised concerns about the impact on women's health and safety. In this context, these celebrations take on added significance as opportunities to reflect on the ongoing struggle for gender equality and reproductive justice. They remind us the importance of advocating for women's rights and standing up against policies that threaten their safety and autonomy. They also serve as a call to action, urging us to work towards a more equitable, inclusive society for all, especially with the upcoming elections. As we honor the past, we also celebrate the present and look forward to a future where all voices are heard and all stories are valued. Together, these occasions provide an opportunity for us to come together in solidarity, to learn from the past, and to create a more inclusive and equitable world for future generations. Let us embrace the spirit of Ostara, Irish American History Month, and Women's History Month as a reminder of the endless possibilities that come with the changes of the season and the power of the collective in action and resilience. The Sabbats Almanac, Ostara's blessing, states, "In so many ways we blossom and grow. In so many ways our intuition lets us know. We are connected, beautiful, and wise, a piece of the universe seen in our eyes. Flourishing in spring like seedling sprouts need, I hold possibilities that never doubt."
Wow, that was beautiful. Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks.
I am also of Irish heritage, Irish
Yes.
and Welsh, so there are a lot of us here, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, shifting gears just a little bit to a plant that some of our ancestors are probably responsible for bringing here. And one of my favorite spring greens that are sprouting up everywhere and beautifully reflect the nature of Aries and the unapologetic authenticity of the women that you shared with us, Carrie. And that's stinging nettles, Urtic dioica. If you've met this plant, you know she's big, hairy, lovely, and nurturing, but if you get too close without proper precautions, she will sting you. She is native to Europe, much of temperate Asia, and Western North Africa. But stinging nettles is naturalized in most of the United States now. I first met stinging nettles on a hike in Idaho. She reached up to me and shouted, "Hello!" You cannot ignore her. Good or bad, she will get your attention. But once this plant is dried or cooked, it loses its sting. And as a food herb, nettles is a traditional spring tonic and blood cleanser. This plant is packed with iron. In fact, it has 4 times more iron than spinach. It can be drunk as a tea or taken as a tincture. Nettles can be used for eczema, which is kind of funny, and psoriasis because it causes rashes, but if you take it internally,
It
it
helped keep.
helps skin irritations. Like, no skin irritations unless I inflict them on you, okay? That's what she says. It's really good for allergies. It's a great decongestant, helps dry everything up, and UTIs. But always check with your doctor before experimenting with new herbs. Use good judgment and do not take nettles if you are pregnant or breastfeed.
When it comes to decorating your altar or a space for Ostara, there are a few things you might want to consider. Associated colors for Ostara are soft pastel colors like yellow and light green, light pink, and blue. These colors evoke a sense of softness and love and renewal. Some scents that embody Ostara include jasmine, rose, violet, lotus, magnolia, lilac, ginger, sage, strawberry, and lemon. You can even add flower petals like honeysuckle, irises, violets, Easter lilies, roses, dandelions, tulips, and lilacs. For decorations that symbolize this Sabbat, contemplate using dyed eggs with natural dyes, seeds, potted plants, rabbits, or hares, birds, pinwheels, ladybugs, and bumblebees.
Basically, anything you see in the dollar section at Target right now. Thank you, capitalism.
Yes. These are all expressions of spring, fertility, and new life. Yeah, a lot of Easter decorations work for a star.
You don't say.
I wonder why. When it comes to food, you can't go wrong with eggs and honey, sprouts, dandelion greens, strawberries, all the spring vegetables, and pine nuts.
And chickweed, don't forget about the
Oh,
chickweed.
okay. Chickweed. Some stones associated with Ostara include, but are not limited to, aquamarine, jasper, and moonstone. So, aquamarine, meaning water of the sea, harmonizes emotions and soothes internal energies, thus creating a balance within to have courage to communicate. It's also known as a stone of release. So, essentially, it helps us let go so that we can renew, and it's great for the throat chakra, with which helps with communication.
I actually used that one when I was working on communication, and I had this whole thing where I was memorizing people's names because, the saying, "Oh, I'm terrible with names."
Yeah.
That really just got my goat, and I was like, "You know what? I'm going to be a person that remembers people's names. And I used that stone during that time when I was really making an effort to communicate with people and remember their names. And I feel like if you do know someone's name, it's easier to communicate with them.
Yes, I try. I am one that I will forget the first time, which I think most people do. So often, if someone's like, "My name is Molly," I'm like, "Molly, Molly, Molly. Nice to meet you." I'm repeating that because that helps me remember.
Right.
Like, or if there's a connection, if I know, like, oh, this person works here, or like, I try to get a little bit from them. So, like, I
Yes.
create that memory. So, yeah, I think that's great. For Jasper, it's known as the supreme nurturer. It balances the physical, mental, and emotional, like kind of like that of yin and yang. It's said that Jasper is good for the root chakra and is known to increase sexual interest and stamina for life force. I'm I
You need all of that
I'm
out of your
putting
house.
out of my house. I'm putting it all in the bedroom.
Don't you have enough of that?
To me, shush. I can never have enough. All right. To me, I interpret that as a good stone to keep in the bedroom, okay? To gradually increase the sexual energy, which could be used for fun and pleasure, or for those, for fertility, for those trying to have a little fun making babies. I feel like sometimes, depending on if it takes a little bit of help to have babies,
Is
you know?
Jasper a tourist stone? I
I
feel like
don't
y'all are just
I
walking Jasper stones.
I don't know, but maybe I should look that up and carry it with me. Um, and then the final one's Moonstone, known as the Stone of New Beginnings. Seems fitting for renewal and cycles in Ostara. It is said to balance male and female energies. It soothes emotions, but be careful because this energy can manifest wishful thinking. It aids in self discovery, increased intuition, insight, and dreams. Moonstone is great for both the third eye and crown chakras.
Oh, you just gave me an idea. I want to get like a big piece of moonstone now, like for a necklace. I always wear one pendant at a time, and I've been wanting a moonstone, but now I want to get one and like put it out on the Libra full moon and like
And really take it in.
get it energized.
Our mutual friend, she told us that she used to carry moonstone, but then she realized that, like, I guess as you take in your own emotions and your balances, she felt like, and like insight, sometimes she feels like if she wears it for too long, that she takes like the insights and intuition, like feelings of others around her. So she has to be
Mm.
very careful. And yeah, it's a pretty strong stone. A lot of people recommend it. So I think use it sparingly.
What? Well, that or I get what you're saying, but my thought was to use it with that Libra and Aries energy of
Hmm.
like myself, because I
Hmm.
think of moonstone as more of like a cancer stone, emotions, but if we're pairing
Yeah.
emotions in the full moon with Libra of that balance and the areas that I am,
Hmm.
we could infuse it with the balance of those two things, the
Yeah.
authenticity of ourselves with how we want to relate to others and how we want to relate to others emotionally. So, yeah, definitely like be mindful when you're working with that so it doesn't kind of like implode.
You're right. Like, more power than you realize. Now all I'm thinking is
Oops.
like this anime cartoon of I have moonstone. Yes. And they like arm up with a stone and you're floating and spinning in the sky with cartoon. I have the power.
Yeah, use it sparingly, says the Taurus, and use it so it doesn't implode, says the Scorpio.
You're right.
Do what you will. Always talk to your doctor before. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Read the fine print.
Okay. Thank you, Carrie, for sharing your insights on spring themes stones. All right. Now let's look at some practical applications. There are numerous card spreads for the Libra full moon and the Aries new moon and the spring equinox at our fingertips with the internet. So I would like to offer a slightly different approach. If you have a tarot deck, pull it out, get the Justice card and the Emperor card. If you don't have a deck or a deck that is like more traditional, just Google the images if you have access and print them out if you can. I suggest the Rider Waite Myth deck for this. Its imagery is clear and pitch perfect. So the Emperor is card 4 of the traditional tarot and represents Aries. It's a big, strong-looking man, like the god of war, with a decisive face,
Yes.
wearing a red cape and sitting on a throne adorned with ram's heads. He holds a scepter, signifying his right to rule. He is a leader with clear boundaries. So when you reflect on this card, think about what in your life that you feel this strongly about. What are your convictions that are so strong that you were willing to, quote, fight for? What are you immovable on? And what are you the leader of in your life? Do you lead a family? Do you lead a co op? Do you lead a group of friends? Like everyone's the leader in something. And what kind of boundaries are put into place to protect your peace? To really cement this, I suggest writing it down and having an anchor to come back to later. Now, the card representing Libra in the traditional tarot deck is the Justice card, number 11. Here we see Lady Justice also sitting on a throne and also clad in red. She is holding two things, though, not a scepter. She's holding the scales of justice and, interestingly, a sword. So, whereas Aries is the authority, Libra dishes out the just desserts. So look back at your Aries reflection and see if anything is out of balance. And if so, what can be done to shift the scales back to neutral? Does anything need to be cut out of your life? So, what are some ways we can do that? This is not the time to be wishy washy. It's time for clear cut decisions and to have a plan of action. So, one way to do this is to imagine a place of decision making. For me, this looks like a medieval castle room with a round table. I am very imaginative, I know, but I do like the imagery of like all of the knights and Sir Arthur and the round table. So I will find my inner emperor and my inner justice, kind of like your consciousness, right? And have a little sit down chat to get all the viewpoints and integrate them into a plan. So, what does your inner diplomacy setting look like? And what kind of plan can you come up with to take charge of your life in a balanced way? And once that's worked out and you have a clear direction of where you want to go and what you want to do, fun spring ritual that I've been doing the past couple of years is an egg spell planting. And basically, what you do is you write your manifestation onto an egg or idea or your plan of action or what you want to accomplish. And you get a pot of dirt and you put the egg in the pot of dirt pretty deep down or at least halfway. And then you plant seeds. And as your seeds grow, the egg will break down and add nutrients to the soil. And they're a reminder of your manifestation. And Carrie is laughing because we did this last year. And would you like to share your story about how your manifestations went?
I still don't know. So, so I wrote on my egg what I was trying to manifest, and I planted it in a pot on my deck, which is what, 20 feet up from the ground.
It is, it's true.
With nothing around. And a snake ate my egg.
What did you ask for?
So I don't know why, but it came all the way up there and thought it would eat my manifestation. So I'm not sure if it was trying to say, I will take your offering and your manifestations will happen, or they said, better luck next year. You chose wrong. You chose incorrectly. I thought it was safe.
I put tons of seeds on mine and I got 3 snapdragon flowers that came up and I cut them and did different magical things with them as they sprouted. Mostly just squeezing them and making them talk and say absurd things.
I didn't even get a flower.
Aw.
It's okay. It's all right. And if anyone knows what interpretation that means, feel free to go on Instagram and message us. By incorporating nature into Ostara celebrations and thinking of the environment, you can honor the earth and the energy of renewal that comes with the spring season. Consider hosting your rituals outside. If possible, hold your ceremony in a garden, park, or forest. Incorporate elements like flowers, leaves, branches in your altar to connect with the natural world. Spending time outdoors doing activities that celebrate the season, such as picnicking, hiking, or gardening, can help you feel connected to the earth and appreciate the beauty of the natural world. You can also plant an egg in a pot and have a snake eat it. It's called cycles. If you choose a nature walk to observe the changes happening around you, notice the flowers blooming, the birds singing, and the trees budding. This can help you connect with the earth as well. You can also download apps like eBird and help the scientific community by participating in bird counts. Take your camera or smartphone with you on nature walks and capture the beauty of the season. Share those photos that you've collected on social media or with friends via text to inspire others to connect with nature as well. Planting seeds or bulbs is another good opportunity. Ostara is associated with fertility and growth, making it the perfect time to plant flowers, herbs, and vegetables in your garden or in pots. Get creative with crafts that use natural materials. Make flower crowns, wreaths, or decorations using such items. If you possess carpentry skills, research how to make and hang a birdhouse to help secondary cavity nesters find a home to nest this spring. There are certain requirements for size, the size hole, depending on the bird you're trying to attract, how far they have to be from each other, and the height.
And apparently you're not supposed to put them on a tree.
No, because snakes can get them and squirrels.
Whatever, my bird was fine.
And I do have to say, I've actually observed there's a pine tree in the front of our house, and woodpeckers have been, it's still alive, but woodpeckers have been gnawing at it. And I have 2 brown-headed nuthatches. They're not woodpeckers, but they have the same type of way they eat. You know, they can fit in narrow places to get insects and inside of plants and stuff. So they also peck at wood. You also often hear them, and but they're nesting. They're building a nest. There's a pair, and then 10 feet from them, we noticed this morning that there's a pair of mockingbirds that are bringing nesting materials into my holly. So we'll kind of see how they go, see what happens there. Going back to things that you can do in nature, use a star as a time to think about your impact on the environment and how you may be impacting the Earth's natural cycles. Try to commit to recycling more, reducing your energy consumption, or using eco-friendly products. Start the process by choosing one initiative to make a habit. Can help reduce anxiety and overwhelming feelings by taking on too much. Environmentalists aren't asking you to be like, please change your whole entire lifestyle. We're like, please just choose one thing that you feel like will impact your community. Make it a habit. And if that becomes natural and you enjoy that, try another initiative that you feel will help, and it can go on from there. One way is to also organize a cleanup in your community or volunteer for one at a local park to help take care of the earth. You can pick up litter, plant trees, participate in beach cleanups if you're on the coast. This time of year, there are a lot of parks and museums that call for volunteers to also help plant trees, vegetation, weeds, and to pull weeds and lay mulch. Finally, enjoy a feast of seasonal foods that are abundant during Ostara, such as leafy greens, sprouts, eggs, and honey that we've mentioned before. You can support local farmers and reduce your carbon footprint by eating foods that are in season and locally sourced.
Thank you for journeying with us through a range of celestial insights, inspiring women, and how to level up or witchy up your spring celebrations. We hope you feel inspired to sit with your feelings and be authentic with your actions. If you build an altar or make a Sabbat food or celebrate with friends, let us know on our Instagram page. We love to see what our listeners are up to and how others celebrate.
And that brings us to the end of another soul-soothing journey with Seasonal Reflections. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to show us some love. Hit that like button, subscribe to our podcast for more enriching content, and join the Seasonal Reflections community on Instagram at Seasonal Reflections.
Looking to infuse your days with the perfect seasonal sounds? Find our curated playlists on Spotify by searching Seasonal Reflections. From vibrant Beltane melodies to the cozy tunes of Yule, we've got the soundtrack to accompany every moment. Your support means the world to us.
Until next time, fellow nature lovers and cosmic dreamers,
stay rooted, stay curious, and most importantly,
stay wild.